The Japanese have been worried about North Korea for quite some time, but I think it's actually South Korea they need to start worrying about now, because if the first Hyundai Genesis was enough of a problem, then this new 2012 Hyundai Genesis 5.0 R-Spec is definitely a torpedo under the water for Lexus. And let's take a look and see why. So starting at the front, you'll notice for 2012 we get an all-new front grille, some new LED trim lights here. The front grille is still very generic, which is not really a surprise since Hyundai doesn't want to advertise the fact that this is a Korean car. Let's take a look around the side. As you can see, the side is both luxurious, sedate, and a little bit bold, sort of very along the lines of Lexus. It's not really very surprising, so I'm sure it's the primary benchmark vehicle. Out back here for 2012 we have some brand new LED tail lamps, a tiny little Genesis 5.0 badge, and that is really the big difference with the 5.0 R-Spec. Genesis, instead of making a true all-out performance line, instead they've just sort of basically stuck a enormous 429 horsepower 5-liter V8 engine inside the existing Genesis with some minor tweaks. Let's take a look inside. Out on the road, the Genesis 5.0 feels very solid, very stable, very planted. Definitely feels heavy, like an LS 460 or a Mercedes E550 or BMW 5 Series as well. The 5-liter V8 is both direct injection and variable valve timing, and so produces 429 horsepower on regular unleaded, apparently. Honda is not really particular about what the performance specs are like on premium or regular unleaded. Supposedly they are a little bit different, although we have not noticed any difference in the 0 to 60 times on this car. Speaking of 0 to 60, we recorded 4.9 seconds to 60 in this car, and that's with considerable intervention by the electronic stability program, because it is only two-wheel drive, and that much torque and that much horsepower really does provide sort of an exciting ride if you disable the stability program. And again, on the interior feels very nice as well. Everything the driver touches has a good, solid, sturdy feel to it. All the buttons are very nice, very easy to reach. The Hyundai 8-speed automatic transmission isn't quite as smooth as the Lexus transmission or the ZF transmissions in the competition, but nevertheless it is a willing partner. Downshifts take a little bit longer than I'd like, a little bit longer than the ZF transmission, but then again it is dropping quite a number of gears when you floor it. Some people have complained that the suspension in the 5.0 R-Spec is neither firm nor soft, it's somewhere in between, and I actually think that's a major selling point for it. I'm a fan of a large, softly sprung sedan, and this sedan is probably as stiff as I would ever purchase. I owned a V70R with the adjustable suspension, and it really spent very little of its time in the knock your teeth out mode, and that is one thing that I have never really cared for in the Mercedes AMG or BMW M sedans. But I think Hyundai actually made the right choice here, especially considering that the 5.0 R-Spec is only slightly more expensive really than the next V8 model in their lineup. It's only about $2,000, $3,000 separates a fully loaded V6 sedan from a fully loaded V8 sedan, and then the fully loaded 5.0 R-Spec. Actually is quite good value when you consider that the Lexus Sport, the AMG models, the M models all carry very, very large price tags compared to their regular sedan counterparts. Since I'm always driving a different car, the one question that people seem to always ask me is, what's your favorite car? And that's a question I've actually had trouble answering in the past, because I always separate things in my head from cars that I could own and cars that I would never own in my entire life because they're too expensive. So I'd have to say that at this moment, my favorite car would have to be the brand new Jaguar XJ Super Sport, which probably makes Jaguar very happy, but on the other side, I could never afford one. So I have to say, however, that this new Genesis 5.0 R-Spec really checks most of the right boxes for me, and the big thing is the price. I mean, you get essentially 95% of what you would in an LS600, minus the really expensive hybrid, however, for less than half the price. $46,000 really is a terribly good value, and for that I have to say that the Genesis actually makes it quite high on my list.